Welcome back to today's video, and again let's look at changes of state, condensation, boiling, and evaporation. So in the previous video about changes of state, we looked at melting and freezing. So if you've not seen that video, I'll link it in the description below and also at the top right corner of this video. So let's move on. Again, let's recall on the three states of matter. So we have solid, liquid, and gas. All right. Now, each of these state of matter have their own property. And also with that, I've done a video on it. I'll link it in the description below and also the top right corner of this video. All right. So let's first look at condensation and what happens anytime we talk about condensation. So basically with condensation, we are looking at gas, okay, changing its state into liquid, or a gas substance changing its state into a liquid substance. All right. Now, when this happens, the particles that are present in the gas state, okay, basically we know that with gases, the particles are far apart, okay, and they move about randomly and they collide with each other. So anytime that state has to change into a liquid state, basically temperature has to be lowered, all right, so that the particles will now change. Instead of being far apart, okay, they move closer, okay, together. But closer together doesn't mean that they basically come very, very close to each other. There's a little amount of space that is between them, okay? All right. Then what happens next is, instead of they moving around randomly, all right, they now slide against each other. So when this happens, we know that the gas state has been changed into a liquid state. So that's with condensation. So all the time with condensation, basically we have to lower the temperature so that this happens. All right. Now let's move on to boiling and evaporation. Now with boiling and evaporation, basically they are a bit similar, okay, but there's a difference between them. All right, so let's first look at evaporation. Now, anytime we talk about evaporation, basically we are looking at a liquid substance changing, or a liquid changing its state into the gaseous state. All right, so let's combine the two together, boiling and evaporation. So basically a liquid changing its state into the gaseous state. Now, when this happens, basically we are applying some form of heat, okay, to the liquid substance. So with this, we know that particles present in liquid, there's a little bit of space between them and they slide against each other. But when this happens, what happens here is that the particles begin to move further apart because they've gained energy. All right, so they begin to move further apart, then they move about randomly. All right, so they are able to move about randomly. So when this happens, we know that the liquid has changed its state into what? The gaseous state. All right, but with boiling and evaporation, there's a difference between these two. When we take evaporation, now evaporation occurs at any temperature. All right, evaporation occurs at any temperature. So let's take water for instance. We know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. All right, but when it comes to evaporation, we are saying that particles begin to escape from the surface of the liquid at any temperature. All right, so even at 50 degrees Celsius, you find out that there are some particles that are leaving the surface, okay, into the atmosphere. All right, and when we talk about boiling will only occur when the substance reaches its boiling point. So in the previous video, we looked at melting point and freezing point. So the definition goes for this as well. So boiling point is basically the temperature at which a substance will boil. All right. So when we take water, we know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So the temperature of the water has to reach exactly 100 degrees Celsius before boiling will occur. And one evidence of boiling is basically seeing bubbles in the substance, okay, that is being boiled. Okay, so that's one evidence. So all the time, boiling point, the substance has to reach its boiling point before boiling will occur. But with evaporation occurs at any temperature. All right. So that's it with condensation, boiling, and evaporation. Questions are going to come up after this. You can try your hands on it and pause the video when the question comes up. When you are done, compare your answers. Unpause it, compare your answers with the answers that comes up on the screen to find out whether you got it right. All right. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to the video. Sorry. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.